No. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Where am I at? Why am I not? Here we go. Here we go. Let's go ahead and do this now. Finally. Damn it. Technical difficulties, but it would not be a Cerebral Tackle stream if it wasn't for technical difficulties, hence the intro. I've been working on this script for 2 damn weeks, and finally, I said, you know what? F it. Do it live. Literally. Today, I just got tired, threw the script away, and said, I'm just going to do it live. So, appreciate all you guys for being here. Thank you so much for joining me on a nice, beautiful Friday evening here. Late winter, start of spring, depending on where you are in the world. Pardon me for all my coughing. I don't have my regular mic. So, got a lot to get to. We've got a bit of a timeline issue with dual thread fishing. And what I want to present to you tonight is what I knew, not from an outsider looking in, but from a very unique perspective. And I had kind of a front row seat on the start of this thing from the beginning. And I didn't know exactly what it was I was walking into. Give me one moment here. Sorry, guys. I'm going to have to do a lot of hacking. My lungs are shot. Anyway, thank you, guys. So what a lot of folks don't know is that this thing started over a year ago now. And I'm going to be referencing a lot of notes, looking off camera here to a lot of notes. Steve Chapman from Get Your Fish On. He and I, we talk pretty much every day, sometimes multiple times a day, depending on what news is going on. Scuttlebutt chatter, sometimes just giving each other a hard time for giggles. But we talk a lot. And I was first made aware of dual thread fishing when he was first made aware, and that was a long damn time ago. And it goes into my theme for tonight. Okay, our theme is an autopsy. We're going to break down why this dual thread fishing fiasco is allowed to happen. And people are forgetting all the players in this were hand selected by Ethan Phillips, aka Timothy Lynn, right? I guess that quotation's the wrong place there. Ethan Phillips, Timothy Lynn. They were hand selected. Why were they hand selected? Nobody's asking that question, but this guy. And I think I've got some answers for y'all. I think y'all will have a new insight when it's all said and done here. This is wild. Y'all think you knew? Shit gets a little crazy. So let's take it January a year ago. I'm talking to Steve one day on the phone, one of our normal conversations. And he brings up to me, hey, I was contacted by this dude. And this dude's like, hey, there's going to be this really cool team format going. I got a friend I want to introduce you to. I'm a fan of your show. You might want to cover this. Okay. Interesting. This dude's name on YouTube, and he did it, I think, in a comment section, one of Steve's videos. This dude's name was Team something here. Like I said, I'm going to be referencing lots of notes, so y'all please bear along. Team CJ2K. Capital T, small EAM, capital C, capital J, the number 2, and the capital K on YouTube. Relatively new account, okay? Pretty much a burner. Steve didn't know that at the time. This dude contacts Steve. Hey, got this friend. know this dude's starting this great team thing. You probably want to get in on it, yada, yada, yada. And he is the first person to hook Ethan Phillips, the mastermind of dual thread fishing, up with Steve Chapman from Get Your Fish On. That's where this whole thing started. Now, with that said, Ethan had reached out to other, Ethan always in quotation marks. We all know the douchebag's name's not Ethan. He was, he had tempted other media outlets that either shut him down or didn't really take him seriously. But here's the trick with the great Steve Chapman. Steve's always willing to help with his time, okay? He's willing to help, willing to give his time. Steve said, I'll give it a listen. Now, keep in mind, Steve also gave the MPFL a listen when they first come out. They're still around, kind of, but I mean, they're still around. So he did what he's done with any other organization. He gave him a shot. And so hindsight's 2020, right? This team C2, whatever the hell, was probably, we don't know for sure, allegedly, the actual Ethan Phillips, the son. Because from his social media presence, the real Ethan Phillips, the kid, is much more social media savvy than Stip Poppy, Timothy Lynn. So it was probably one of these other actors dressing up like a friend that was putting Steve in contact with Timothy Lynn. So Steve gives him a shout. They talk, tells him all about the grand plan, not the real grand plan, right? But the fake grand plan. Steve lets me know about it. Like I said, we're talking, we're chopping it up. Steve's like, yeah, yada, yada. I'm like, well, it sounds kind of phony. And at the time, to Steve's credit, Steve was like, yeah, I just don't know how you're going to get entry fees out of this many pro anglers, get them to team up, how you're going to fill that kind of a roster and get them to pay entry fees for this. I don't see it happening. I'm like, yeah, neither do I. So we didn't exactly put it on the back burner, but Steve was kind of hesitant and kind of from a distance from it. Well, this goes on for a couple months. Every time Steve and I would chat, he would have heard from this Ethan guy again. Like, you know what? Well, he says he's doing this. He says he's doing this. I'm like, yeah, it still sounds like bullshit. He's like, no, yeah, it kind of does. As time went on, this guy lied to Steve more and more and more and regaled him of stories of who he knew, who he's able to get on, all this. And let's now get into a few of those details. So Steve does like his first or second video about it back on February 15th of the previous year. And where he talks about the possibilities of dual threat fishing, what's to come. And so that kind of materializes. And like I said, as time goes on and Steve is bullshitted more by this guy, he starts to kind of believe it. He starts to kind of feel it. And then as anglers start to get on board, it becomes more believable. Now, there's a reason I didn't look into it further. I could have found out that Ethan Phillips was full of shit if, oh, by the way, let me take care of something here real quick. One moment, guys. Hun? Yes. Can you see if you can make Towhead a mod, please? Yeah. Sorry, guys. We're needing to get a hold of something here. Yeah. I can. Okay. Sorry, guys. I had to do a little something there. Okay. I apologize, guys. I had to take care of a little bit of housekeeping there. So he says, so I guess I'm not coming to your follow this weekend. Yeah, we missed that, brother. We had an idea for that. I'll get to that in a minute, guys. So what happens is Steve does his second video for him. I didn't look into him. There was one point, Steve and I talked about this today. There was one point I actually asked Steve. I said, this kind of sounds like horse shit. Give me the dude's name and I'll do what I do. I'll run him down and I'll figure out if he's real. Steve's like, no, I think the dude kind of wants to make it about the anglers, kind of keep his name out of it. He wants to remain private. Well, there are dumbasses out there who have tried to dox me on a regular effing basis. And I like my privacy. My wife's health is at stake with her MS and stress being a flare factor. So I get it. I was still like, I mean, it's different being like an investigative journalist that's an independent journalist especially, and someone who's being the front man of a major tournament organization. One needs to have visibility. The other really needs to have their privacy. But whatever. I'm like, okay, fine. So no one ever gave me the name Ethan Phillips, or I'd have done this a long time ago. Never knew. So he's like, no, he didn't want his name out there. Fine, whatever. And was I tempted to try to cover it? Only about that much. The reason why. It was Steve's baby. Steve was approached. Steve found it. We kind of have a bit of a brotherhood on such things. Sometimes we'll cover the same stuff. Sometimes he'll go one direction, I'll go another. We often talk about this. The differences in the stylistic differences of our channels, how we present stories. So I'm like, his baby, he got approached first. This guy wants to go through Steve. F it, Steve gets it. So, pardon me real quick here. So for that reason, I said, screw it. Steve gets it. I'm going to go do my own thing. So as time went on, more details started to come out. Steve started, like I said, getting regaled. Things started speeding up. As anglers started becoming excited and coming aboard, that's when Steve was like, you know what? Maybe this shit's legit. And he starts backing a little bit more. Now, make no mistake about it. There have been other channels, hacks. I'll call them hacks, that have called Steve a co-conspirator, an accomplice. Okay. Steve and I don't have to agree on everything. We agree on a lot. I'm going to tell you something. To those other channels, they can go F themselves. Hide and go F themselves with a sharp, pointy stick. And you guys probably know who they are, and they know who they are. And tomorrow, that will be my next cartoon on my community post, so be looking out for it. Yeah, other people like to take shots. Steve was not a co-conspirator. Steve got wrapped up because Steve's a nice guy. He was nice. He fell for it because he was excited because it was such a cool idea. He wanted it to work every bit as much as the anglers. Problem is, nobody to a man did their due diligence. That's the problem. Listen, I'm not throwing shade at Steve. I'm not throwing shade at the anglers. They were absolutely, positively all victimized by this. I'm not throwing shade at them. But a couple things here. No one unearthed him to find out if he was real. And no one gave me the name so I could do it, because I had done it in a heartbeat. And they all wanted it to work. Call them suckers, call them gullible, but guess what? They were suckers and they were gullible for the right reasons. They wanted this to work out. There are some folks, including AP Basson, Mr. Former Guggen Squad, who still thinks it's a grand misunderstanding and that the backers, the mystery money men, backed out like the recent letter that was distributed said, and that it was just kind of a misunderstanding. No. Step away from the crack. It was not a misunderstanding. If it's a misunderstanding, why the hell are you going to do it under your son's name? claim that your name is Ethan, pass yourself off as Ethan to everybody who sees, and claim that this is your endeavor. Now, according to Alec talking to Steve, Steve relaying to me, I guess allegedly in there, the guy had mentioned to Alec several times that he was doing this for his son. Well, that would be the actual Ethan Phillips. Okay, let's say you set up the LLC in your son's name. It's going to be your son's legacy. You're still not going to give your name on anything. You're still going to present it that you're Ethan. That's bad business from the jump. That's just bullshit from the jump. And that's what makes me believe there is absolutely zero credibility in the fact that this thing had mystery backers where it just fell flat. I believe, my opinion, stemmed from the jump. They were never making it to Eufaula this weekend. Now, as Super Towhead over here said, what's up? So I'm not coming to Eufaula this weekend. I had planned on being at Eufaula, but now there's also storms and other things where I was going to do this fun live bit from the ramp that they were going to go out of. You know, here's Cerebral Tackle Live. I'm not seeing any boats, yada, yada, kind of a good fun shtick video, ragging on it. That was my goal, but wife's health, weather, all kind of intervened, gave us the finger. So I'm here at my place rather than on a boat ramp at Lake Eufaula, which quite frankly, I'd much rather be. I'd want to be up there crappie fishing, doing some shenanigans, but yes. Anyway, so I know I'm kind of all over the place. Bear with me. So that's that. Okay. I'm trying to think of my transition here, guys. I'm flying by the seat of my pants because I was just tired of this script. It kept moving on me. So Steve gets reached out to. Anglers start to come on board. Everything starts looking legit. The more anglers that keep signing up, the more I'm thinking, surely Steve has looked into him, and Steve is no slouch about researching a guy. I like to think that I'm the king of the world where that's concerned. I'm missing. But Steve ain't bad himself. So between all these anglers, I'm over here thinking, like I said, right outside the glass, my nose up against it, looking in, thinking, surely someone's checked this dude the F out. Surely someone's looked into this. That would be incorrect. Negative Ghost Rider. So Steve makes a couple more videos. Things start to catch Steve. And as it goes on and gets closer to Okeechobee, other things start to kind of come into play. Ethan starts complaining to Steve about how they're not going to get free rooms at Roland Martin's Marina. I don't think they're entitled to it. I'm sure because Scott was one of the participants that if any cheaper deals or something were to be made, he would be more than willing to do it. I'm not sure exactly what the arrangements on the rooms were. I think they got a certain amount of rooms free. Don't hold me to that. Pardon me. I'm sure Scott and I have talked about this. I've just forgotten what was said. That's on me, not on Scott. I know they had a catfish buffet there or some kind of food presented at the marina as well. Here's the thing. A lot of what was learned was passed from Ethan to Steve to me. The problem Steve and I have now is we don't know what to believe from Ethan. As far as we're concerned, every single word that came out of Timothy Rayland's mouth was a complete unadulterated lie. So was there really a spat over the $1,500 catfish food bill there at the marina? Who the hell knows? Was there really a spat over like 10 rooms or so being assigned to them for free? Who knows? These things were being reported from Ethan to Steve to me. Again, I didn't have Ethan's name, or I could have found out the guy was a ghost months ago. As teams started to come on board, Steve was tasked with trying to find additional teams. Another person that was very instrumental in bringing on teams as well was Scott Martin. Again, the man's connected. You cannot like Scott all you want. The trick about Scott is he has a passion for the sport, and he is a very well-connected individual that is not going to die out from the sport. It just is. The man ain't going nowhere. So he will be seen as a megastar, a big get. When Scott Martin was announced to being one of the teams that was accepted, we'll get to the whole application here in a minute. Something key about the application you guys got to know. Whenever Scott was accepted, he not only was able to bring on teams because of his name, but Ethan saying, we've got Scott Martin, other people wanted to naturally join, especially the younger generation. Man, Scott has a very wide appeal across sports to both the older generation and the younger generation. I know a lot of the young cats have spoken very highly of him. So, yeah. And again, it also added a lot of legitimacy. Think about that as far as the well-known name of Scott Martin, the legitimacy it's going to add. The point all along was to get to a point, I'm convinced, where they didn't need or they didn't want to ask for entry fees anymore. There needed to be some, would they have liked all the entry fees they could get? Yes. But they also needed more legitimacy. They needed to run this thing out where they could get to the first two events. Steve saw in the chat there. Steve, you're damn right, Stacker Slayer. Steve is Steve Chapman from Get Your Fish On channel. So what happens is they needed to build legitimacy to keep people interested and to get to those first two events. I could be wrong, but I'm convinced they never planned on going to Eufaula ever. That's why there were the two events back to back in Florida, just right down the road from one another. Because sorry, I'm looking at a timestamp on something. Okay. Because they needed to, are you going to come back through?
Yeah.
Yeah. 1 second, guys. I'm going to mute the camera real quick here so she can come back through. Okay. I think y'all can still hear me. So anyway, what occurs is they wanted to have those two back to back so that all they had to do was just cut and run. That was it. Done with two events, take your money and run. But also, I think another thing that really allowed this to happen was the distance between the time where they said, you know what, no entry fees, yay. Mysterious backers with Bitcoin. Guy on a plane from Dubai coming back. Ooh, that sounds legit. That sounds like something else I'll get to in a minute. But horseshit. But they want a little bit of time because you guys know it wasn't until days after this whole thing really started to break down that things went kind of goofy because Steve and I were talking on the phone and the light bulb went above our heads at the same time. We're like, what is the con? It's not like he's getting entry fees. All these guys were signed up for free. There was no sponsor money. What's the con? And they're like, you know what? So-and-so paid entry fees. Ding. Light bulb above our heads.
Hey, Steve's on. He says they only helped with teams once the no entry fees were waived. So like 2 weeks before Okeechobee.
Oh, they were waived only 2 weeks before Okeechobee? I thought they were waived a long time before. Steve, do you want to pop on? It would be much better if you were to pop on. I dare you, say yes. You know what? I hate to be that guy, but I'm going to be that guy. Put a 1 in the chat if you want Steve to come up here with me. Put a 1 in the chat. Come on, guys. Light him up. Peer pressure. Light him up. Light him up, and I will send him a freaking... Let me see if I can figure out how to do it on the fly. Come on, Steve. Come on, Steve. Let me do this. Oh, crap. Am I still visible? Okay. I am still visible? Okay. All right. Okay, there we go. Now, guess what, Steve? That's what you get for popping your butt in here. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go here to my email. And I'm going to get, let guys, keep the ones coming. Let's make him pop in here. Instagram DM, Steve-O. You got it, Steve. You got to come on now. As soon as I see you pop in, I'll bring you up. Yeah, guys, that's it. Twist them. Grab them and twist them. Sorry, Steve. You done screwed up. You showed your ass in chat. I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you. Better get your ass in here. Correct me. Come correct me. My notes are a mess. My script's a mess. Hence the reason I'm doing it live. Watch. He's going to be like, I didn't see shit. It's in his Instagram DMs. Anyway, so I thought it was a hell of a lot further out from a couple weeks before Okeechobee, because I could have sworn he told me long before then. You know what? If he doesn't come on immediately, I'm just going to start talking mad shit that he's got to come on and correct me on. You know, I'm not going to say he wears a skirt to dinner or anything. I'm just going to say that, he ain't wearing trousers. Come on. Yeah, he's got a range. Yeah. Come on, Steve. Come on, damn it. Anyway, so I thought it was a hell of a lot longer before then, but I know the Bitcoin was announced. Hey, no entry fees. So then folks were like, okay, maybe it's more legit. Well, not only was it not legit, but let's get to the applications. And hopefully Steve will pop in here in my studio. When he does, I'll pop him on. So what happens is the applications, right? Everyone had to fill out applications. Let's talk about that for a minute. There was a reason for these applications that I don't think anyone's thought of. He wanted to handpick who was a part of this for a reason. A friend of mine just tonight was saying, you go, okay, Steve, you got the link in your DMs on Instagram. Just follow that link. Hit that link on your computer. Okay, whatever you're going to film with your computer or your phone, whatever you do lives on, you've done lives. Go there, hit that link, and it'll bring you straight in. So what happens is these applications were specific because he wanted to handpick his victims. They were going to be people. This guy is pissing, folks. Let me get my chair up a little bit more in case I need to evacuate. So what happens is that he thought he was picking people that he was smarter than. Doesn't mean he was. Not throwing shade at Steve or at the anglers, but at people he thought he was smarter than. So there were some people he reportedly turned down. Other people that let me take something off my screen so Steve can pop on. There we go. He wanted to talk to these people one-on-one. Let that sink in. He wanted to have a conversation with them. He wanted to ascertain if they were a threat. Anyone think of that? The other day, Matt Robertson did this video on Instagram about, all y'all saying y'all knew, fuck y'all, at least we got the experience. Y'all wouldn't have seen the pelican, y'all wouldn't have done this and that, and y'all just mad y'all didn't get to fish it and all this. Y'all didn't participate. Whoa. Y'all didn't participate. No, there were applications. People were hand-chosen. People were hand-chosen by Timothy Ray Lynn because, in my opinion, he thought they were patsies enough to go for it. He thought they wouldn't look into it. Now, later in the game, when Steve started to have kind of pseudo arguments or disagreements with Ethan on the phone about different aspects, directions they should go, who should get in, who should not get in, pulling permits, over a host of things, Steve started becoming more frustrated with the situation. And I get that. I understand that. And honestly, Steve was right, because Steve had a hell of a lot more experience in this thing than this guy did. So what happens? He was really ratcheting down on who he let in. He wanted to make damn sure he had control of the whole situation. So no, to folks like Robertson, no. It wasn't that people just didn't participate. Some people were turned down. Other folks didn't even try the application. So no, the victims were hand-chosen. As a matter of fact, after one, Steve, damn it, Steve, get on here, boy. Well, that might be him. That's him. Crap. One moment, Steve. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to get our boy on here. It didn't work. Forgive me. I need to... Steve saying that was just... One second, guys. Forgive me. Oh. Okay, guys. Un momento. Let me send this to him. Oh, I see what I did. My bad, Steve. Damn it. That's me being a dumbass. No comments, people. No comments. Let me get him in here. I'm sorry, Steve. That's the right link, homeboy. Okay, now let's get him up in here. So, where was I? Know where I was, hon?
No, I'm paying attention to the chat.
Oh, she's paying attention to the chat. She wasn't sleeping this time. Anyway, so there we go, Steve. You should have it this time. Oh, dear heavens. It's wow. Damn. Walter Tucker coming in hard. Yeah, so I reminded Matt Robertson real quick, and I got shot down by Matt. Well, not shot down. He addressed me in DM when I said, no. It wasn't that folks just didn't participate and they're jealous they didn't participate. We weren't chosen. I didn't do an application. I got no business putting in an application. But no, it was applicate like, no, dude, you were chosen to be a victim, homie. Don't go beating your chest about y'all just mad, y'all just jealous, y'all didn't participate. No, we weren't selected to be victims. Let's get some shit square. Real talk. Again, is that shade at any single one of the anglers? No. There is one team out there, one of the smartest teams that, and I'm not going to mention their names, that told me explicitly they thought there was a real good chance this thing was a sham going into Okeechobee, but they had enough money to make the trip. They got to fish in Florida. Why not? Screw it. We'll go down and fish Florida for a week. If this thing works out, because remember the rule, if you didn't do it the first year, you wouldn't be allowed back the second year. By the way, another way to entice victims. Oh, he's here. He is here. Ladies and gentlemen, adding to the stage. Let's see here. Mr. Steve Chapman. Wouldn't be allowed back the second year. By the way, another way to entice victims. Oh, he's here. He is here.
I am here. You know what happens in 20 minutes, though. You know that.
What happens?
Bubba call.
Oh, yep. No worries. Yeah, you got the echo still going on there in the background. Oh, you may have dual mics open.
I am here. You know what happens in 20 minutes, though. You know that. Yeah, something's going on here.
What happened? You click out of the other tab where you were watching it on YouTube.
Oh, maybe that's what it is.
Yep. Yeah.
There you go. Can you hear
There
me?
we go. Yep. Got Steve. Man, goodness gracious, look at that. See what happens?
People don't even think I have hair. They seem to have it so much.
I know. I'm sitting here looking like what? Like I'm sitting here looking at my bifocals. Like, am I seeing this shit right?
Oh, have you ever seen all the shit in this room?
No.
That's where I do all the videos.
Well, see, I'm gonna make sure I remember my hat, even if I am being a freaking technical klutz. So you're saying it was actually,
Hey, Slater.
It was just a little bit prior to Okeechobee when he announced no entry fees. I thought it was earlier.
I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks before Okeechobee. If you remember correctly, you and I he started talking about this several months before.
Yes.
And we were both kind of like, does he, does he go with bolstering the payouts or does he go with no entries? And I was like, I'm not part of your group. You're not paying me. I'm just too nice of a person is the problem. And from there, it was, supposed investor was coming on. And it wasn't till a few weeks before Okeechobee. I don't even remember exactly when, but it was probably sometime in December that he was like, it it was on a Monday. He called me and says, "Hey, this thing is done. I got the money." And I'm like, "So you're going to announce you have no entry fees?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm going to give you first dibs of saying it." I'm like, "Okay, I appreciate that." And then it was, I called him the next day and I said, "Do you have the money in the bank?" And he said, "The money is in the bank." And I said, "Okay, there's no entry fees." And he's like, "Yep." So I did that video that there are no entry fees. And he said to me at that point in time, "Is there anybody that is social media oriented that he should target?" And I said, "Well, I know a few people that probably would love to be part of this now that it's no entry fees. So let me call and ask him. Let me talk to him." And I called a handful of people, probably 7, a couple people, maybe 10 really, now that I think about it. A few people were like, "I want to in, but I have prior commitments that I either break those commitments and maybe lose a sponsor, or I fish dual threat." And when that angler in particular, he and I talked, I said, I wouldn't burn a sponsor. That could be 10 years of sponsorship versus, you don't know what could happen year to year in a tournaments thing. And then there were other people like, Ethan asked me, or Tim, and whatever you want to do. Ethan asked me, "Can you get a hold of Ben Milliken?" Or I got a hold of Ben Milliken, and I texted Ben, and Ben shared those texts with other people. And Ben had said, "I'm interested in doing it. I want in, but I have a newborn that's coming, and I wished his newborn all the best health and understood it, but he was like, mark me down for 2027. I want in for 2027. So, everyone has a different narrative on if they were asked or if they weren't asked.
Mm-hmm.
There were some people that were asked. There were some people that wanted in and were never going to get in. And I wasn't the person to say yes or no. I would tell anglers, if you want in, here is his phone number. Call him. You need to talk to him yourself. Don't go on my word. Do not go on my word. Talk to him, and you hear exactly what you and I have talked about. His bullshit was. But at that time, it didn't feel like it. Well, I think you and I talked about this today. There was kind of that behind in the, like that little cringe in the back of your neck.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, okay, like when I think the biggest thing is when the no entry fees happened, his and I relationship drastically changed, because at that point in time, he felt like the anglers that were signed up or were trying to get in owed him something. Like he was the entitled owner at that point in time. And entitlement and ego and narcissism is something I don't like. I
Same.
don't. And it really became more of a, like I'll give you a perfect example. He said, "Oh my gosh, I just found an M&M on the floor. Hold on. 3-second rule, just joking." Who knows how long that's been sitting there. Sorry. Squirrel. So he had said to me, "Can I contact this angler?" And I said, I'm friends with this angler, but I'm a little uncomfortable asking this. Or even a better example is I have a couple friends, I don't want to say their names, that are big celebrities that I've had a relationship for 25 years with, maybe even longer. And he said, "Well, can you get this person to show up at Okeechobee? Or how do I get this person involved to become part of this business?" And I said to him, if you're interested in getting this person, you need to do it. It doesn't need to come from me, because if the truth be told, if I were to ask both these friends, they would have done it instantly. But I was questioning it and wanted to know, like I said, once he got rid of the no entry fees, nothing made sense at all to me. Literally nothing. And when I started questioning it, that's when I started getting the, hey, angler calling. I mean, I even have it as a recording. And you know, it was kind of like, what's going on here at this point in time? You know, it really made no sense. And when there was entry fees, it did make sense because you knew where the money was. When there were no entry fees and this supposed investor, why isn't, you know, and I think you're the only person that, other than me, that knows the potential investor. And we both know that guy doesn't have a clue about fishing.
Exactly.
So,
and I mean, and that's what gets me. And that's why I was explaining to folks, you know, about my thoughts on the whole applications. Yeah. There was a reason. He was wanting to hand, he saw a nice guy in you that was willing to help out with your time and your expertise and your connections. And he said, I can milk this teat. And then, I mean, took complete advantage of you.
Well, you heard me that day that I had that, I don't mind saying it, Chad Hoover, talked to him.
Yeah.
And Chad gave him like 2 hours of probably you couldn't pay for someone to give you the advice that Chad gave him. You really couldn't. And at the end of that conversation, he said, and I hope Chad isn't mad that I said that, so I apologize, Chad. I apologize, but he knows he and I are good friends.
Yeah.
But he called me the minute he hung up, and he said, dude, that guy's using you. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he said, I'm trying to milk Steve, or something to that extent. I don't remember the exact words right now. And remember, do you not remember that day how pissed off I was?
Oh my gosh. I remember you calling me, and before I could hardly say where, you're like, I got to tell you something. I got to get something off my chest. I'm like, oh shit, go. And you went off.
Yeah. And you remember we talked about it, and you didn't know it was Chad, by the way.
Yeah. I didn't know it was Chad at the time. No.
Yeah. Because Chad didn't want it coming back and biting him.
Yeah, understood.
But Chad was like, you know, Steve and I have been friends for 20 years or 15 years. Why would you? And he didn't question it with Ethan or Tim. He just was like, dude, this guy's using your platform because you're too nice of a person. And you want to know what the craziest thing about that? Like, I had a buddy today write a comment on today's video, and he was like, you know, you're a journalist, not someone like this. And the only thing is like, there have been other tournaments that are upcoming that have asked for my help. And it isn't to, you know, it's just to help promote what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I've done that. I really have. You know, this exact tournament. I can't say it because I'm still under not to talk about it.
Yeah.
But you know, now, like, the thing that's even the crazier thing about it is now I'm like second guessing if I should do even videos on that World Bass Enterprise. And I know that guy's legit.
Yeah. But I get it. It's a bad taste in your mouth you get left with whenever it's been filled with. Yeah, I get it. I mean, there's no question you guys were shafted in just the most freaking insane way. It's like I was looking at stuff like through the notes, like back on, what was it? I think he said August 24th, back when Slick and Jordan Lee got the contract. Yeah, Slick was going to be a part of this. Can you imagine the shit show? Was going to be a part of it, but of course Jordan Lee, right, had scheduling conflicts, and so that wasn't able to work.
Yeah.
On August 26th, he claimed he was inking that sponsorship deal with State Farm, right?
I think it was so when he first started, he started telling me about how he was in the contractor business. I think, and I think you know this. And he was like, yeah, my main sponsor is going to be Black & Decker. And I'm like, holy cow. This is
big money.
Yeah, this is fabulous. And then, I started asking about Black & Decker. And he didn't always have the right answer. And then, he was starting to put more time into other sponsors.
English calling.
Say that again?
English calling.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, how many times I heard that was not even funny. If I could get 10 cents every time that was said, I'd have hundreds of dollars. No joke. Not millions. Hundreds of dollars. And then it was State Farm. And then it was I didn't know who this guy was. Aiden Ross, the streamer. I didn't know who Aiden Ross was at the time. That's just me. I'm old.
No, you know who's feeding him that shit.
His son.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that now.
Yeah.
And I didn't look into Aiden Ross. And when he started talking about the so-called investor, he never told me his name. And it was, of all things, I still have my notes on who he was saying, like you know the gist of what I do.
Mm-hmm.
So I write
about your process.
I write myself notes, and then I keep them, and sometimes I do throw things away, but And I remember him saying that at first the investor was an oil person. So there's a million oil persons. But then he said, "Oh, my oil." Then he would like a week or two later, he'd go, "Oh, my oil person is one of the top 15 in the country." Oh, well, not what you tell somebody who might check up on you. And then it was still a little hard to, you have 15. And then it was, well, this guy loves the outdoors. And then it was, this guy gave $30 or $15 million to Texas Tech. And then that is when everything dropped for me.
There you go.
And I went, okay, you said this, you said this, you said this, you said this. I'm going to contact the person that you said this is. So I did. Now this is a billionaire. He doesn't give a shit about some hodunk small channel like me, but didn't get back to me. And then the no entry fees, and then Okeechobee happened. And before Okeechobee happened, there were just so many things, like the trailer, the release boat, all these things. Yeah, all these things he said he had done months earlier now are not there. Even like when he and I first started talking, he said, "I have a tournament director already lined up and an MC, so I'm not looking for that." And I'm like, that's perfectly fine. I'm not an MC. I get people's names wrong every day. Try my best, just doesn't work out. And then weeks before the tournament, he said, I think you remember this too, would I like the tournament director job? Do you remember that day?
Yeah,
and remember, the exact thing I said to him was, I'm not qualified for it. Could I do it? Probably.
Yeah, you could.
But this was me, because this is just me. I'm not qualified for it. Then he was like, well, I need an MC too. And I said, well, you told me you had an MC back in September or August. And he goes, well, I have somebody that I have, but these, a bunch of anglers, not the ones that I got involved, a bunch of anglers started saying, why isn't Steve involved in this? Why am I not doing this? So then he said, well, I do have somebody. And I said, I do not want to take somebody's job. Do I think I can do it?
I remember that conversation. Yeah.
Yeah. It was the weirdest thing. And then he was like, and I just said to him, there was even an angler that said, I'm not going to join unless Steve is doing it. And I called this guy and said, hey, don't do this because of me. Do this because this is good for you and your family. Because if it works out, this is free money for y'all. This is what I'm thinking. This isn't me looking out for myself at all. This is me trying to help others before I help myself. This is unfortunately the way I was brought up, and it is a problem. I have no problem admitting it. But, it just became, like I said, once the no entry fees thing were waived, just everything went to shit. Everything. Nothing made sense at all.
Yeah.
Justin Hawkins. I clicked on it to watch Steve. Steve is on a PR crusade pass. Justin Hawkins, you can kiss my fucking ass.
Ladies and gentlemen, when he doesn't have the get your fish on hat, this is Steve Chapman.
This is that guy knows nothing about anything.
Justin, if you would have listened from the start, you would have heard me say
he can't.
That, Steve and I, we talk every day, usually multiple times a day, and folks can say what they want about him. I'm gonna tell you right here, right now, this man has nothing to be on a PR crusade about. He was legitimately fucked over.
I apologize for swearing. I know I shouldn't swear.
No, dude,
but it's like this kind of.
Whose channel are you on?
This is the kind of person that just is making a statement that just is completely a lie. It's like the other guy making a lie that I'm a co-conspirator. I didn't realize I had signed a contract to sponsor the show because I get talked about on that show every week. I'm waiting for the bill.
Yeah. Here's the deal. You were used. Oh man, what was it? I'll get to that here. You were used for what you do. Heart on your sleeve, nice guy, willing to put in the work to help out something that the Steves that the anglers wanted to work, that you wanted to work, that I wanted to work, that everybody who hates hearing the anglers gripe about their respective trails, that want to be a part of something that they enjoy and have fun more doing for big money and have to just show up and win. We were all in it for them. Okay.
You want to know what the craziest thing about the whole thing is? After this happened, I went and called the people that I knew and said, hey, I want to make sure that you and I are good. The 7-8 anglers that I called.
Yeah.
None of them said, dude, I'm so happy you even remotely would include me. And most of them said, not only did I, once you called me or you talked to me, I went and called 10 of my friends to try to get them in too. But they also said it was one of the most fun tournaments they've ever been in.
Yeah. Oh,
which is ridiculous.
I mean, there's no question. Like I was talking about earlier, the smart team that I talked to that was like, we go down there, fish for a week in Florida. If it works, you can't get in the second year. I think I was saying this right before you were able to pop on. If you don't get in the first year, you're not going to get in the second year. So what's the worst? We're going to go down there. It's going to end up being a horseshit scam. But we got to fish a week in Florida. We got the money to do it. F it, let's do it. What's the best that can happen? It really takes off. You're on the ground floor. Eureka. Now, I know at least one team that was very much thinking that. And I talked that team was one of my sources when things started to break down. And they said to me, so what's the verdict? Is this thing going to be bullshit? And I was like, looking like it. And they're like, damn it, we thought so. And it was just to hear the disappointment in the voice was heartbreaking. I'm like, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but yeah. And they're like, what have you found? I'm like, this guy's a ghost. He doesn't exist. It's going to be an assumed name. And you're like, oh, shit. And it's like, and by the way, if he's watching, shout out, brother. You know who you are. I doubt he is watching. He's probably time time it is? No, he might be inside. But yeah, it was a complete. And what else? Oh yeah, the construction thing.
Yeah.
This is some news, guys, that I hope. Okay, good. 70 folks watching. Want y'all to see this. Okay. No, he was talking to. Is there something new? Oh yeah. Yeah, he was talking about, yeah. Actually, real quick, let me say something. Jig Squad, you and I might not always agree about a lot of stuff, but thank you so much for having Steve's back. You're absolutely right. Couldn't agree with you more there, brother. You were absolutely dead on. Thank you for that. So, about construction, part of the news that's going to come out of this, and guys, I am sorry for this thing being all over the thing like spaghetti. I got tired. And as Steve, I've been talking to Steve about this script for the last 2 weeks. And every time I go to do it, it takes a slightly different angle. Something else happens. A new piece of information here or there.
A letter gets sent that completely confuses us even more.
Yeah. That weird ass love letter, that Dear John letter, which, I'm sorry I had to take a little bit of fun with. I hope the anglers aren't mad that I did that, and I'm sorry I included the Magnum wrapper. Not sorry, but it was funny. Sorry. Anyway, fuck it.
I don't know who gave you that idea, but it was a good idea.
Yes, guys. Yes. The only tweak was Steve's like, ooh, yeah, a Magnum wrapper, but you got to put the DTF logo on the Magnum wrapper.
He said that.
Yeah, I couldn't get to fit on there just right, but yeah. So the Magnum wrapper was absolutely Steve's idea. Like I said, we talk, and sometimes when we're left alone, pardon my French, we come up with some real fuck shit to do. Mm-hmm. But yeah, but as far as the construction, here's part of the new news that folks haven't heard yet. His 3 warrants, this Timothy Ray Lynn / Ethan Phillips has 3 warrants out of Monroe County, Tennessee. They are for theft of, like, not theft of services. I think they're calling it theft of property. Their statutes are a bit weird, but Steve will account to, he was testifying the fact early on that he made his money. He was some big construction guy, right? He was some huge construction guy, had this big construction business, all this jazz. That would be a no. His warrants are from where he promised to do work for people in the realm of construction, whether it's building additions, remodeling, that kind of thing, but basically getting their checks and hauling ass. 3 warrants for theft. If you ask me, that's where he got his seed money. And Mr. Scott Martin pointed out something that was so obvious. Steve and I missed it. It was so damn obvious that when Scott said to me, I'm like, oh, shit. And I said to Steve, and Steve's like, oh, that makes sense. When it talked about the guy possibly having already possibly been in the Florida area or whatnot, definitely not, because those pictures, he's white as a ghost. Freaking white as a sheet. And Steve, anybody's been in Florida knows you tan.
I think you can see the sun from me just being outside doing a lure thing today.
Yeah,
close to see that I'm red. I mean, I am tired, but I am red from the hour being outside fishing.
Look who showed up. Hey, KTZ. Yeah, KT. You know, I almost asked you, but I knew it was late in the game, and you and K4 were already live, or I would have hit you up. Thank you so much. It's nice to see KTZ. Holy hell, guys, man! If y'all like body cam channels, please go check out KTZ. She is freaking awesome. Her and at K4 as well. KFARR. Those guys are freaking body cam kings over there, reaction kings.
And Mike Dove's on here too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, hey.
Dove.
Hey, Dove, what's up?
And Slayer Stacker. I've seen a bunch of people I know.
Oh.
JL Scott's on here. Did you see JL?
Yeah, I saw JL. Did you see his recommendation?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. Bring on somebody that should own a donut franchise. It's a hack. That's gonna be my next. That's gonna be my next cartoon. Oh, Mike Dove. That's not the same Mike, or that's not the same Dove I know.
Mike is with. Holy crap! I don't even know the stuff that's behind me. Grande Bass.
Oh, okay. Hey, always loved that rattlesnake and baby rattlesnake.
Okay.
A lot of sea rig fish on that baby rattlesnake.
I'm finally starting to do more of the closer looks again. As of
good deal.
Just recently.
So yeah, I mean, the whole thing, my whole intent of the original video I was going to do, the old autopsy, was kind of how I was allowed to break down. He took advantage of people that he thought he could take advantage of, whether it be you for your media contacts and being so generous with your time, with helping people. He saw that in you. That's why I think you got that original email from that, or that comment from that Team C2J, whatever the fuck his name is.
Well, the original one was on Instagram.
Oh, on Instagram. That's where it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, you know, I'm not the best at Instagram. Just like I had to say something, I'm not the best at reading Facebook messages either. I didn't know I had a ton of Facebook messages recently. But sometimes when you direct message somebody on Instagram, it goes to like hidden requests and stuff like that. And it went to hidden requests, and he had asked a bunch of people to you know, I'm fishing this tournament. You should look into it because you do fishing news. And I was like, okay, let me look into it. And then he started posting comments, and that Instagram account's now gone. That Facebook account is gone. It's all kind of like it's so crazy, all the stuff that after it happened, that, you know, it's like, holy, what was ever really true? So
yeah, I get it. And that's what I was starting off by saying, is that now we can preface a lot of the conversations that you had with him of, we don't know what's true because it's probably 100% bullshit.
Yeah. And like, you know, this has given me some health issues.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That I'm not really wanting to talk about, but the stress and how I feel for it, it was reassuring to talk to the anglers and everyone go, Steve, this, just you even remotely inviting us and giving us the opportunity, because if it would have worked, it would have been awesome. And let me just say, there is a good chance that it still might work. Not under Ethan, of course, or under Dual Threat Fishing.
Oh gosh.
But there is an organization that has went out there, tried to and in trying to get the capital to do this, and they've raised a pretty damn significant amount of money. And so if it happens, that's even better. And maybe that will help me sleep a little bit better. And I've taken this a little bit too personal. I've taken a lot of the criticism too personal too. Because like I said, I would do this for anybody to help them if it helps the community. And it's my fault for doing that. I shouldn't do it. But you know, like I said, there's a tournament upcoming in July that needed my help, and said, can you help us with this? And I did.
You said that?
You know, and 1 second. Yeah, so I mean, that's I don't want to show that. Sorry, took off the hat instinctively there. Nobody wants to see that. And it's also interesting that the website was killed 1 day prior. Like you and I talked about, it was brought back up for a quick flash.
Yeah,
but it was originally taken down. That was weird. But it was originally taken down 1 day prior to the 6-month mark creation of the LLC.
I didn't know that.
1 day prior. Yeah. And then there was that very weird instance, that phone call and picture you got on Monday, January 18th, early in the morning, about the buoy tied up, found with fish.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that was a weird one. Was that in the morning?
Yeah. 8:18 a.m.
Yeah.
Monday, January 18th, 8:18.
Is that what? Did I send that to you?
Yeah.
That was in my notes. Yeah. Notes, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the weird. That was whatever day during. And if I'm wrong with my days, I apologize. That was one of the days that was a practice day, and I got this message or this picture of. Do you have the picture by any chance? Hold on, maybe I can pull it up off my phone.
Yeah. If you can throw it up, throw it up.
So I got a picture of a buoy in the water, and Ethan was saying that he found fish on it. And I said, don't touch it. Find out who you think is cheating. And he, oh, I have it right here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it.
Yep.
Oh,
yeah,
there you go.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
So he had texted me that my exact text were, "Are you serious? Did you leave it?" And then it was a phone number for the Florida Polygrapher Associates. And I said to him, we ended up calling and talking, and then he said that I said if somebody's found that and it has fish tied to it, you need to not do anything about it, and you need to figure out who did it, and he kind of just blew that out of the water, like, I'm not going to worry about it. And I remember going, this is crazy. And I remember going, okay, this is his tournament. I'm putting myself out too much. He's going to make a mistake here, and if he makes the mistake, it's on him. It ain't me. You know, I'm hoping he does what's right. But that was also the time that he was telling me. At that point in time, it was just days before that first angler meeting, and he was telling me, I was telling him, you need to make sure that every angler has signed that agreement or liability or whatever it's called, angler contract. And he was telling me, well, I've got everybody to sign it but Scott Martin. And I was saying to him, well, you can't let Scott go fishing and not have that angler agreement signed. And he was like, oh yeah, I'm going to do that. I've got it under. And then day one came, and I said, he called me. I said, how did the day go? The angler meeting came. And then I said, how did the angler meeting go? And he was just raving about how great it went. And then I had 5 people call me and said, this is the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. It lasted like 10 or 12 minutes. And Scott and Ethan were at a corner, and they were having a heated conversation. And I said to him when he got on the phone with me, he's like, I got to get rid of Scott Martin after the first tournament. I said, that's not going to work. He's like, I think I'm gonna get rid of him before this tournament. And I said, well, then you can't have a tournament because you're at the Scott Martin Marina or the Roland Martin Marina. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then I said, well, did you get Scott's angler agreement? He said, no. And I said, well, you can't let him fish the first day. He's like, why not? And I said, well, if Scott runs into somebody, and hope to God he doesn't, I'm not wishing him that he does. I'm just saying, let's hope that nothing happens. But if he just happens to get in an accident, you've lost your whole company because you let this guy go fishing without an angler agreement. And that's the first rule. And he was like, well, I'm going to get it done today or tomorrow. And I remember going, this guy is crazy. Yeah. Thank God I didn't go down there. Thank God I'm not part of this group.
And speaking about part of the group, you know, the whole talk about finding a tournament director, there's been several folks out there, and I want to make sure we kind of get to this and kind of correct this for a few folks. there's been several folks out there that said they were approached to be tournament directors. One of the anglers,
Mark
was it
Fisher?
no, Adrian Avena, was it? One of the anglers. No, who was it? Ted gumming up, forgetting off the top of my head. What the actual fuck? Regal the best. I thought you are both the same person.
He's much better looking. And he can grow facial hair.
You're kidding me. Oh my gosh. My gosh.
Nobody wants to see this.
Yeah. Well, thank you. You know.
That's for me. I'm not talking about you.
I am. Oh, okay. See, I know I'm younger still, so screw you.
That is true.
But I'll look older, but I'm younger. So there was actually one of the anglers at the pro level was saying he had been offered the job. I know Mark Fisher was. I know the gentleman there from the bait shop, Henry.
Yeah, at Palaca Bait Shop.
At Palaca, yeah, was offered and there was still a couple more people, I think, too, that were also offered.
Yeah, he told me that Trip Weldon was going to do it.
Yeah, that's right. And also
Marty Stone.
Marty Stone, that's who it was.
And I said, I don't know Marty, but I probably could find someone that has his phone number fairly fast. I do know Trip.
Yeah.
And I said to him, before you start telling anybody that you have Trip that's going to somehow come back and join your thing over going back to bass is the biggest load of bullshit I've ever heard in my life. So don't lie to us about that.
Yes.
That is so far from the truth. And I said to him, I can call Trip right now and do that. I think the funniest thing is when, and I don't know if you and I talked about this. And if I didn't, I apologize. So at one point in time, after he got rid of the no entry fees, there was an angler that was telling him that they knew Donald Trump Jr. And he was like,
you did tell me. You did that they were going to have him at one of the.
And I said to him another time that I called his bullshit out. I said, dude, Donald Trump Jr. is never coming to Okeechobee to watch a fishing tournament, the first fishing tournament. And he's like, I've been chatting with him. I've been doing this and that. And I remember thinking, like, behind the scenes, you know this, I edit for a few people.
Mm-hmm.
I know somebody that knows his daughter. So I'm like, never heard of dual threat fishing ever.
Exactly.
Never in a million years heard of him. And I remember going, okay, I'm just going to, at that point in time, I remember thinking, maybe it's just about ego that he mentions these things to people and not realize it, while I didn't look him up personally. And I think, for me, I sometimes I have, when I've done stories or whatever, I have looked up stuff, but I find it a little intrusive, Yeah,
you're very careful about you pick your spots.
Yes, I'm very careful. Just because people's private life, I really believe is his private life. And
meanwhile, I'm the asshole. Because I'm over here. I'll do that shit, and I'm over here pumping you because I don't want to see my boy get bus tossed. And I'm sitting there going, there's too much of this. I know Steve's excited about it. I know the anglers are excited about it. It would be awesome if it works. I'm kind of smelling something. Come on, dog. Tell me his name, dog. Come on, dog. Let me do my digging. No, I think he wants to be about 10 years.
You probably knew his name a few months ago.
I didn't. I didn't. It wasn't until things fell apart that I remember telling you, again, chat, forgive me for my language. I remember telling you, motherfucker, what's his fucking name? Ethan Phillips. Okay, thank you. You know what I mean? That's what I'm like, approximate age.
That sounds more like me, to be honest.
Yeah, and I shook you by your ankles till the fucking change fell out and said, because we saw things going off the cliff, and I'm like, Thelma and Louise's shit, give me a name.
Well, you remember, I did a video and then I didn't post it for forever. I did a video the night of the Okeechobee tournament. And remember, I was driving home, and I had 5, 6, 10, 12. I don't even know how many anglers call me and say, Steve, what do you know about him? And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, he was telling anglers, well, you got to hold the check till Monday, or I don't have money in the account, or all this stuff. And there were 3 or 4 or 5 stories. So anglers were calling me saying, can you tell me what's going on? And I was and you know this, usually Tuesday nights, I drive over to somebody's house. I pick up videos. I bring them home and edit them during the week. At least
3 road rage incidents on the trip.
Yeah. And that on that way home, all these anglers are calling me. And so I called him and said, what are you telling anglers? And he's like, I'm telling anglers not to deposit till Monday. And I'm like, but why? And then he was like, well, I have to transfer the money from one account to the other. I go, why in the hell? I probably didn't say hell. Why in the F did you not do that before the tournament started? This makes no sense to me. And he was like, well, I didn't have time. And I'm like, but you did. And then he's like, okay, my investor's calling. I got to get off the phone. And I remember hanging up with him, calling Kyle and calling other anglers that called me. And like a lot of anglers, I'd never talked to in my life. I never had talked to him. And
I talked to several new ones this time around.
Yeah. And it was like, it was so completely weird. And then that night, because I hadn't slept for 2 nights before that night I got up in the middle of the night and made that one video. And I was like, I remember doing the video, and I don't even remember what I said in the video the next morning. And I'm like, I'm not going to edit it. I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to put it up just as it is. And if it comes true, I'm going to feel like crap. I'm going to feel like shit. And then after that happened, like that Monday, like I think you know this, 47 anglers called me, and they're like, we can't get a hold of him. And I'm like, what? And then you know me. How the hell did you get my phone number? You know how that goes. I'm like,
yeah.
if I give you my phone number, I don't mind, but I don't want you to share my phone number. And that was when, like, that week Okeechobee happened. And then after Okeechobee, for the week after, I would hang up the phone. You knew this. I would hang up the phone and somebody else would be calling me. And I'm like, why am I the person? And then people were calling me because he wasn't answering anybody's phone calls but mine. And anglers were asking me, if he's calling you, merge me into the phone call. And I felt guilty to do something like that. But at the same time, to be honest, at that point in time, I had the anglers' backs completely. I had the anglers' backs at the beginning. The people that got invited, because of me, I wanted to see my friends do well.
Oh yeah. We both wanted everything to work out good. And the fact it tanked like it did is just unfortunate, because it was a format that they all enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
It was something that they all absolutely loved. Sorry, I'm making sure this isn't something. Okay, making sure. They were having way too much fun.
They were. They really enjoyed it.
Yeah, everyone to a man really enjoyed it.
As shitty as the weigh-ins were, it was like unbelievable to hear the anglers talk about how they were in the crowd cheering each other on. Where in most tournaments they weigh their fish and they split, and they leave.
It was, but see, there it is. There it is. The one thing he accidentally keyed on by being a complete and utter hack was the fact that it had the old school club feel. It's what every angler wants.
Yeah.
Okay. What every weekend tournament angler wants, every club derb angler wants. Can you imagine going to your club meeting once a month, but not having to worry about rule change meetings, not having to worry about bylaw meetings, showing up fishing for huge money, not having to worry about sponsor bullshit and media bullshit, getting in your vehicle, going home, parking your boat.
Like, just use, I'm going to use one person as an example. Like him, dislike him, to each his own. Matt Robertson goes fishing with his best friend, Wendell.
Yep.
It's Wendell's dream to fish at this level. But you get to fish with Matt Robertson, who's a great angler.
And you're one of your best buddies. Yeah.
And one of your best buddies. Or use another, even better example is Scott Martin fishing with his daughter, Hillary.
Yeah.
I mean, the stories that can come about because of this. But like Matt and Wendell are going fishing, and because they're so friendly with each other and not scared to say what's on their mind, you can get those gems that you would never, ever get anytime else. And here Matt Robertson's streaming live. And the next thing you know, he and Wendell are having an agreement, disagreement, joking, or Wendell's or like I told Kyle Patrick's friend that was on the boat with him, I don't even know his name, and I apologize for not knowing his name. That guy sang nonstop. I would listen to him. He could make a country music thing, and I would love it. It was just one of those things that the camaraderie is what makes that tournament, that format good. Look at Major League Fishing. Major League Fishing's Team Trail is the best tournament, period, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
Because you have two different ways of fishing. You have maybe two different styles, but you have two friends.
Yes.
Like when you have Chris and Bobby on front of the boat and they're busting each other's ass about what they've done for years, talking, chirping, the whole 9 yards. Or Wendell and Matt. Wendell might not be as good of angler as Matt, but he sure is one hell of a net guy. Or
yeah.
You know, sometimes when you're on the front of the boat and you don't have anybody to talk to, you know, your mind starts going crazy. And to have someone back there to bounce ideas off of, right or wrong, doesn't matter. But then you have that person to go, well, I don't like this idea, or I do like this idea. It gives you confidence, and with confidence, you fish better. And that's what made the whole thing good.
And they enjoyed it so damn much. I mean, every angler to a man was like, I really hope this isn't a sham. I really hope it's not a sham. And then, speaking of which, the letter that come out with not a real return address, just dual threat fishing, Knoxville, Tennessee.
Photocopied.
Yeah, no name assigned.
Yeah, no signature.
Yeah.
No date. She all right over there?
Huh?
I heard a sigh. Is she all right?
Oh no, she's like, when she got up and wandered through the screen earlier, I was concerned she doesn't want her likeness and her identity out there, but she's been so loopy with the MS. I'm like, what the are you doing? You're walking through the shot. Because I know later when she becomes lucid, she's gonna be like, did I do that? I'm like, you did that. So I'm like trying to get a hold of her. It's like, you know, she's just back there yawning and kind of uncomfortable how she's sitting. But I wanted to get a couple other quick things. Like there are people out there that not only were saying you were a co-conspirator, but were also saying that you had to get a full cut of this. No. And what I will say, you were promised things for just doing not like promised salary and shit, promised gifts because the time and effort that you put into it and the advice you were giving that you never got. Yeah, right? Stuff that the man went out and bought his own damn self to reward himself for getting shafted. Am I right?
You are right. My GoPro my GoPro's actually in the garbage right here. 2 of them broke on the same day, and I remember talking to him and how not really upset, but just how I was like, man, it makes no sense that how both of them died at like the exact same time, and the work that I assumed I had done because of the GoPros. So, and there are very few people. I don't like asking for help. It's a bad trait.
He doesn't, folks. He doesn't.
I don't like asking, but you can say to me, hey, Steve, dude, can you help me with this? Like thumbnails or ideas or whatever it is. You can bounce, or you can say to me, oh, I'm not doing very well on my YouTube video. Can you look at it for me? And I go, okay, let me look at it for you, and go, okay, I think you need to change this. I have no problem helping people. Never.
Real quick, or speaking to your intrusive thoughts.
Yes.
And like lighting a fire under your intrusive thoughts. Like, man, I really want to do this and this. And he's like, you would really be funny? Do this.
Yes.
Okay.
I kind of sometimes like to throw a little gas on the fire.
Yeah, like that Magnum wrapper.
Yeah, the Magnum was my idea. I said, man, it would be even funnier, because you had already posted something, and I was driving from whose house, and to get videos, and I said, oh my gosh, it would be so much funnier if you put a Magnum condom thing on there. And you're like, oh, how did I not think of this? And I'm like, well, sometimes the creative juices work differently. So, so when those cameras broke, he was like, hey, I would love to buy you one. And I'm like, no, don't do that. I don't want that. You got to do your thing. Don't buy me anything. In fact, he's like, I need to send you a bunch of merch. I'm like, don't send me merch either. Don't send it to me.
When at some point he's like, I'll send you a drone or something like that at one point as well.
Yeah. And then he was like, well, if you come to Okeechobee, we have a new GoPro for you. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to Okeechobee to pay for rooms and stuff that you said was free, and then now isn't. And why are you telling me these stories? Why are you telling me that you have 10 rooms from the Roland Martin Marina, that they've given you 10, and that you're going to get $10,000 for hosting fee, or all this stuff? And I'm like, why? Now you're supposed to get $10,000 for Roland Martin fee, but you're worried about $1,500 that you're going to do for drinks and the catfish dinner for the guys.
Yeah.
Why are you doing this? Or why are you complaining about $1,000 to Fishing Chaos when you supposedly got $3.5 million and you don't have an app to do the weigh-in or anything? And when I started questioning him all that stuff, then really his and my relationship really went astray.
Yeah. And he was also talking to us about other people too, where he was like, what other people were wanting to get paid for promotional videos?
Yeah, I mean, at one point in time, he had said that Slick, and I don't believe Slick said this at all. I don't believe Slick said this. I guess I could ask him, but I've never asked him. He had said Slick wanted $10,000 to do a video promoting his thing. And, like I think you said it earlier, I think none of us can are questioning everything that he said.
Yeah, every single word he said. Because
you don't know what's real and what was true. Like I think I mentioned in one of my videos that, like, that guy saying it's a PR thing. I'm just being honest about what happened.
Yeah.
As someone who knows too much.
Yeah.
But like I don't even know where I was going.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. That guy still pissed me off, so that's why
I get it. And I understand what people think that they see, but knowing you, I understand what's really going on.
Yeah. So
It's not a PR thing. It's you genuinely feel bad that people got taken advantage of.
mhm.
And in that list, you would put yourself last. You feel worse that everybody else you don't like the fact you were taken advantage of, but you probably hate more than anything that everybody else was taken advantage of above and beyond you.
Yeah,
And
for sure. 100%.
you feel bad about it, and you're wanting to get word out there because it's not that you owe somebody an apology because you didn't do anything to owe an apology, but you hold yourself to a different standard. So you feel like you want to give an apology.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely wanted to apologize to the anglers. And like I said, I talked to the anglers. I think, and like I said, we don't know what was true or false. I don't believe Slick probably said to him, "Oh, you got to pay me $10,000 to do this." I don't think Slick did that. I will be honest, like when all this stuff was going down, because nobody was talking, like Ethan wasn't answering the phone calls. So Slick would call me, and Keith would call me, and Skeeter would call me, and Kyle would call me, and all these guys would call me and say, "What's going on?" And they would ask me questions, and I would go, "Okay, hold on. I'm going to call him and find out the answer." And then I finally got to the point where I'm like, "Why am I this middleman? Why?" And then I said to Ethan, "Why are you not answering these guys' phone calls?" "Well, I just texted them 12 minutes ago." "Oh, hold on. Keith, did he text you 12 minutes ago?" "No." "Hey, you didn't text him 12 minutes ago. Don't lie to me." And then there were 3 or 4 days where the only person he answered the phone call to was me. And then that Thursday morning came, and I wrote him a text and said, "Did the money go through?" And then everybody, 2 or 3 days earlier, the anglers were shut down. 2 days later, I was shut down. I even wrote in my last thing, "I'm feeling blocked."
Slick used to call me up until the day I stomped Donut Boy into a cronut over on Instagram, and hadn't heard from him mysteriously since. Ever since I got the constructive ash chewing about don't mess with cronut. I don't give a shit. By the way, like I said, up tomorrow will be my latest cartoon about cronut, or one that I posted over on Instagram. Since everybody wants to see them on YouTube now, I'll put them over on YouTube. Today was Boxing Fish Boy without a license, and tomorrow will be cronut. But there was all that bullshit with him. Oh man, there was something else a while ago that I wanted to bring up that you hit, and the memory bubble's already collapsed. And now I forget what it was. And it's gone.
When the shit went bad, the anglers needed our help.
Yes. We didn't mind giving it. You were on the phone with a group of anglers. I was on the phone with another group of anglers. Then we'd get in the middle and meet in the middle and exchange, and we'd go back and meet with our different groups of anglers. And sometimes they were the same anglers, and sometimes they were different.
Yeah, I mean, even JL helped.
Yeah. I mean, it was a mitigated shit show of sharing information as quick as we could.
And the anglers were going and doing their stuff too. Really, Skeeter and Keith were the 2 biggest one, in my opinion. Skeeter, I mean, I called those guys the CSI of fishing because they went like to another level. And
Skeeter's whole wanted thing at the Tennessee Forum. That was next level crazy.
And then remember that Sunday morning.
Mm-hmm.
You remember I merged those two pictures of him.
Yeah, the old mug shot with
And then I said, I think I was the first one to go, "This is the same person," but we needed to be really sure before we said his name. And I was like, "This is the same dude. There's no question about it." And then we were like, but before we do this, let's not jump just because I'm good at Photoshop that we should out this guy. And then
when I got off the phone with Monroe, I was like, "It's him."
Well, yeah, I got off. Keith called me, and he was like, I'm like, "Hey, I'm just going to tell you, this is the same dude." And he's like, it looks completely different. I'm like, I'm telling you, Keith, it's the same dude. And then he sent me a text or something, and he AI'd it. And he was like, oh, it's this. AI says it's the same thing. I'm like, okay, stomp the brakes here for a second. Just because AI says it's the same person, you should not say anything yet. And then I don't even know what time it was. What, 10, 11 o'clock? We were all like, yeah, this is the same dude. This is what his real name is. And I think I don't even know. There was an angler who put in the group me thing saying, does anyone know if this is his real name? And at no point in time did I think, well, maybe he's given us a fake name. Never once. I get kicked out of the group me thing. The only thing I really see is that question. And then I remember me going, I think this guy's name isn't real.
Yeah. You and I, at one point, you and I were on the phone, and I remember telling you, it was one of those things of, I think you realized it, you were doing your thing. I realized that I was doing my thing, and I called, and I'm like, at that moment, that was before we realized who he was and who Ethan, the stepson, was, the adopted, or not the adopted son. And you were like, or I got on the phone, like, I think this is an assumed name. And you're like, mm-hmm. It's like, while we were doing our own thing, we both come up with it, and we're like, holy shit, this is an assumed name. I'm like,
and remember, I'm like, hey, you got to see this photo.
Yeah. And that's when you sent me over the photo.
And then, and like, I think when Keith or Skeeter or someone called me and says, do you have pictures of him? I'm like, I've never met this dude. And then it must have been Keith. Keith was like, is there any way you can find photos of him? And I'm like, you want to know what? I'll spend all night clipping photos, trying to find out who it is, and go that way. And it was like, and then it just steamrolled. And I've had, like, the video I posted today, I had done, I don't even know, 10 days ago. But I just didn't want to bombard everybody with so many of these things. I probably won't do any more videos on it unless something drastically big comes up. But it's just like, man, it just, like, every day you question something different every day. You go, could this be real? You know, and then you realize, man, this guy just lied perfectly. And you want to know what the other thing is like, as anglers, and I said this in another podcast, we are eternal optimists. We will buy the craziest shit thinking that we're going to catch the biggest fish with it. And it is junk. It's made for TV junk. And we'll still see it, buy it, and hope that we'll catch the biggest fish.
Like everybody's expressed when they very first saw dice.
Yeah, you know, we go fishing. We don't know. I went fishing this afternoon. We don't know if we're gonna catch fish. Bastard. We just know that is our goal. And when you start hearing that stuff, then that thing. But today I went fishing so I could use that new lure.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
You don't say the lure.
I won't.
Yeah.
I won't. I've seen it.
You didn't see it.
Oh, I didn't see it.
No.
I didn't see it.
He saw my closer look video.
Yeah.
I don't know when. To be honest, you want to know what? I was told that was supposed to be released Monday. Now I'm being told it might not be released till 2 weeks from now.
Okay, so I screen captured the whole thing. No, just kidding.
Oh,
it's right there, is it?
Hopefully my name was covering it. Did you see it? Maybe nobody realized it.
I was too busy focusing on that stack of Playboys that's over there that you didn't quite get covered up.
Yeah. If only. The Playboys by the Lose reels?
Yeah. Well, you know, those could be considered Playboys in their own right. For me, I'm a Shimano guy. Shimano is what makes my pants move. But
I was a Shimano guy for a long time.
Yeah, well.
Just out of curiosity, Keith, could you tell what that lure was? Because that would really suck. I'm not joking about that.
I'm not the only one with an outtake during this thing. I'm just
That
saying.
would really suck. And I apologize to Jason if that were the case.
People probably think I'm an a-hole for getting on the missus for walking through like that, but I saw her, I'm like, no, I can't exactly grenade dive out of this. But she was in a stupor. She had fallen asleep back there, and she got up, and I was half worried when I saw her through the screen, like, she playing sleepwalking? And she's walking there, I'm like, hey, 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 hey. And she's like, even when she got past me and I said, she's like, huh? I'm like, oh, shit. Because after she got into a fight with the luggage cart that night at 3 a.m. and woke me up screaming, I'm worried that every step she takes, she's going to bust her ass with how unstable she's been lately.
So anything else we need to go over? You can keep going.
Yeah, I'm probably going to keep going for a little bit, although I'm sure everybody's going to drop off the second the star power leaves the.
I'm not the star power. I'm the ugly duckling.
Oh, man. You know what?
Losing hair. Got shingles because of this bullshit.
Shingles. Anybody's had shingles, they know that shit's real.
All because of the stress. And it's not a joke. I got shingles. And it sucks.
It's just what a shit show. But yeah, I think that's the I mean, of course, one other thing is this did also a couple super quick things. First, it pitted, when it started to go downhill, it pitted anglers against each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like the whole very public outburst between Matt Robertson and Skeeter at the angler meeting.
Well, I mean, you can see both sides of that story, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. I
mean, Skeeter and J-Dog, I caught 4 fish. Nothing big. I was using that new lure. So, Skeeter was very public about asking when the checks were going to be good. And rightfully so, because Ethan wasn't talking about it. Ethan was postponing it or pushing it off. And I think that because it was free, Matt felt like he could interject his opinion, which is rightfully so, and just say, if you don't like this, you don't have to fish it, man. You don't have to fish it. And it caused maybe a grief between them at that point in time. I don't know if they're friends. I mean, I don't know anything. You just hear the rumors, and unfortunately, in that case, somebody filmed it, and that caused grief because that was the reason why. Well, that was I was being told that Skeeter was going to get kicked out. Not that he was disqualified. He was going to get kicked. There were 3 anglers that were going to get kicked out: Kyle Patrick, Skeeter, Scott Martin. He wanted Scott gone because he felt like Scott was making deals behind his back, supposedly. I don't think Scott was.
No.
He wanted
Scott
Skeeter
gone.
on the trail. Yeah. Skeeter, he wanted gone because Skeeter was calling him out for his bullshit.
Yep.
And so was Kyle Patrick.
Yep.
And so he was like, I'm going to get rid of the bad apples, in my opinion. And when he would talk to me about it, I would tell him, you can't get rid of any of them. They have a disagreement with you? Tough shit. Grow some balls. Don't take it personal. Like, I don't take it personal when people, I do take it personal slightly when people attack me. I don't like to, but I don't go making a video about it every time either.
There you go.
And like in Skeeter's case, Skeeter had every right to call him out.
Yeah, he did.
Scott Martin, you cannot get rid of Scott Martin because you think that he's going behind you doing a deal. You have to prove that he made the deal. You can't get rid of Kyle Patrick solely. Kyle Patrick is one of the 4 or 5 anglers that is streaming live and streaming to probably 120,000 people over 3 or 4 days.
And I would be remiss if I didn't say, go, Brody, go.
Oh, for sure. Brody's a god. And right now,
for you guys that don't know, Brody McWilliams, the cameraman to the stars, as I call him, the guy that is responsible for several of these live streams, Kyle Patrick's, even the Zaldanes to a degree,
Scott Martin.
Scott's. The guy is a freaking savant when it comes to camera work.
Yeah, there's two or three other people he's doing it for.
Oh yeah. He's a bad man.
Brody's the man right now.
Yeah, he also dug through all the footage because he was one of the few people at Okeechobee. Well, when he got there, he was the only person at Okeechobee that had anything running.
Yeah.
In the way of cameras. And he said he was looking around like, nobody else got running any film here? Screw this. And he starts setting up his stuff everywhere and just starts filming everything. And that's a lot of the reason we were able to get so many great photos of, Timothy, Ethan, and the two culprits that were with him in their little band of merry idiots, scam artists, was because they had the cameras rolling.
So Jail asked, was this after Lake Okeechobee or St. John? So this was probably, he was talking about this. He was talking about Scott Martin before Okeechobee.
Yeah.
And then Okeechobee happened, and then Skeeter and Kyle, were questioning things after Okeechobee and then that week. And he was mad at Kyle Patrick because Kyle Patrick got his check and tried to mobile deposit it the minute he got it. And that irritated Ethan because he was like, why aren't anglers listening to me? And
I can see, well, Kyle was going to immediately call bullshit.
I agree with you completely.
Kyle might be goofy, but he ain't exactly dumb.
No, Kyle is not dumb.
Kyle's not dumb. Kyle jumped on that, and he's like, this. And immediately, that was him testing the waters. That's what Kyle was doing.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think Kyle had heard 2 or 3 different, the money isn't in the account. I'm going to disqualify somebody. And then the W-9s. And then the investor hasn't sent the money. It was, like I said, it was 3 or 4 or 5 different excuses. And the only really, when we look back at it, I think the only really excuse that was somewhat legitimate was the W-9s.
Yeah.
But I remember calling him on Friday or Saturday, maybe Saturday, when the day after the tournament, when he was driving to Palatka, and saying, why did you have everyone do the W-9s there? Why wouldn't you have this automatically sent in? And he was like, well, I didn't have time. And that's when I was like, man, you have so much time. It isn't even funny. And, you want to, it's like I said, all the things, every time I talk about this, there's something else I remember. I remember him telling me that he was spending like $8 or $9 grand on the championship trophies, and they were going to be made out of Tiffany. And I go, do you think an angler cares if it's made out of Tiffany? And not to mention, I don't know the difference between Tiffany and silver, to be honest. You can make it platinum for all I know. I wouldn't know the difference. Just make sure they have trophies. And then he showed up to Palatka, and he has plaques made. And I go, where are the trophies? And he goes, well, that was only for the championship. And I remember going, no. You told me you were going to have trophies for every tournament. And he's like, no, I decided to make plaques. And I'm like, really? And that, like I said, there's always something that doesn't make sense. And is your camera floating or something?
No, I'm moving my setup here.
And a UFO is taking over CT's stuff.
Shite. Go ahead.
So when he showed up with plaques, I was just like, what I was going to say is he bought all these things to make it look legitimate. Yeah, Keith, there's still, nobody's gotten any money, but one team got $7,000. And their check miraculously cashed. How it cashed, I have no idea. But there's a ton of people that are still out, entry fees and deposits. Everybody is except one team.
Yeah, what a load of just, it's an absolute clusterous. That's the Greek term for it. But
This floating
it's
camera triggered my vertigo. Booster.
yeah, sorry. I'll fix it here again in a second. I got an idea, but yeah, I really appreciate you jumping on, brother. I do. My notes were just such dog shit after rewriting and going through and tearing up scripts. And
I think that's the funniest thing you said tonight, to be honest, because I know that like 2 weeks ago you started asking me questions. You're like, you would call me and go, "Hey, I got a question," and I would go, "Okay, let me see if I can answer it." And then you'd ask the question, and I would go, "Okay, this is what I remember," and then I'd go, "Okay, hold on. Do you want me to just send you the text?"
yeah, there was that, and there was also like, okay, I remember when we talked about A, B, and C. When the hell was that again? Because I was putting it on the back burner because I was like, Steve's got it.
Yeah.
Nothing to see here. Steve's got it.
What's crazy is and you know me a little bit better than a lot of people. I do not keep emails and texts. I just don't. I don't ever. It's a bad thing. And
if y'all want to confess to a crime, send him a text.
Yeah, it'll be deleted within 2 days.
Yeah, easy.
I don't know why. I think like my phone is. I feel like if my phone and my computer have extra stuff on it, that it's going to die faster because of like speed, not speed, but the hard drive on your computer and your phone. So it's a messed up thing. But I had to recover like 3,800 or 5,800 texts from Ethan. And I've kept them all because I've been like, and I mean, no joking, you could go like this. This is Ethan's stuff. And you can go through here and see all the text, the buoys, the anglers that he's invited, all the people that he's talked to, my videos. He asked me to do some stuff. Oh, he wanted to see what his
that's
trailer
right.
would look like with his DTF. Yeah. That's me photoshopping DTF on those things. Here's the original one. You want to know what the crazy thing? Oh, look at you all comfy now. You want to know what's the crazy thing? I put this photo into Google. This one exactly. I don't know if you can see that. And it came back that this trailer was for sale 6 years ago. And now I would normally never look into that. So by the way, the no entry fees was $518 on January 10th. He announced it.
Oh wow, I did not think it was that damn late. Jeez, that was a lot later than I thought I remembered. Maybe it was just was there not talk of him trying to do it maybe way earlier than that? Is that what I'm remembering?
Yeah. He was talking about it months and months beforehand.
Okay, that's what I'm remembering then.
He reached out to Brian Latimer and all sorts of people. The Nut Brothers. I don't know them. And like
they're good kids.
Yeah, good guys.
They're good. They're good dudes. They're good dudes.
And just so many so many things like you here's a good one. Do you think I could pull KVD out of retirement when we do this? That was a text he sent me. I said, "Are you joking me? I really don't think so." You think you can get KVD? Here's another one.
Get my head around that, Steve.
He sent me a text at one time. He was asking about my dad, which was really nice, and I appreciate it. And I wrote that my dad wasn't doing well, and blah blah blah. He wrote, "Who is Ethan? Who is Ethan Phillips? Who is Easton Fothergill?" And I wrote, have you ever watched fishing? He's our classic champion.
He's the reigning effing world champ of Bassmasters. That's who he is. I mean, I totally had my, I'm not going to lie. Besides our conversations, I had my back to it because with my health, wife's health, other things going on around this place, day-to-day stress is kicking our ass. And I was joking with Steve here the other day, folks, that Steve is getting his shingles now. I went through mine and my stress back in my 30s. Shingles in early 30s. And it's like, so now day-to-day stress is still horrible. It's still bad, but it takes on a different kind of persona these days. And I had my back to it because I had my back to it because I was sitting there thinking, there's no way with Steve being on it and all these anglers being all these experienced anglers, there's no way somebody hasn't put both hands in there and checked on some shit.
Okay, I'm going to read something that I didn't know. January 4th at 12:18 p.m. Yeah, that wouldn't be in the morning, in the afternoon. He texted me, I'm thinking about strategically adding someone in. I said, add in someone as in how? What you thinking? I've had a few buyout offers and several buy-in offers. Buyout is off the table, but if I strategically added someone in and relinquished some ownership, I would be able to do 0 entry fees off the rip. It's just a thought at this point on my end right now. He said, do you have time to make a call? I said, yeah, call me anytime. And we talked about that. We talked about, weigh-ins and all sorts of stuff.
Oh no! Real quick, Bobber and Booster. It's my back and Bobber. No, I'm not ready for bed. I had to get in a better position because my tailbone and back are like, hey, effer, you've been sitting up till, and y'all should see me after reading the video. Anyway, yeah, no.
And FWT Bobber, there was at one point he wanted Chris and Trait to join.
Oh my!
He did. They just never got back. They were smart.
Must resist temptation. Must resist. Okay. I'm not going to say my mother always said if I can't say anything nice because that's bullshit. She never said that. But I'm just going to pass. I'm just going to pass. But yeah, I mean, it's like, but if they did that though, if it was that team, then who would they have back at the house to shame him for not catching fish on the live stream? I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud? I might have said that out loud. I mean, I can volunteer to do it.
Please, for the love of God, from his mouth to God's ears, please, Lord, I don't ask very much. Let's just say a quick prayer. Please have Chris and Trait hire CT to do their live feed.
Oh my!
Coming shows.
Gosh.
Please, Lordeth, listeneth. You have to say that sometimes. Please, Lordeth, listeneth to me, and make that happen.
I'm telling you right here, right now. Can you imagine? Oh my gosh! Can you imagine Brody on the technical end of it and me commentating and in chat?
Oh, I'd pay for that. I'll sign up as a member right now.
Oh my gosh, that would be freaking glorious.
I get in their chat. I get in your chat. I just don't, I try not to stir it up. So.
Oh man. No. Okay. Everybody, hold up. I get no. Let's get some. Steve does not try to stir it up. Here's why. Because Steve has me as his proxy. to stir shit up. Steve lights a fire under my ass and gets me riled up. And I'm like, I should do this and this. Well, do what you got to do. And just like, sick 'em. And opens the doggy door. That's what happens there. So Steve gets to keep his hands clean while I'm out there throwing haymakers. That's how that shit works.
I always like the conversations where I go, "Hey, I'm meeting this person," and you go, "I hope you aren't talking about me."
Yeah.
I'm like,
because
what?
I know my haters.
Well,
I know
you
my
knew
haters.
that person wasn't a hater. You knew that one.
Oh, correct. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I have to, I'm going to lunch with this person.
Yeah. Most recently, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, you don't have to worry about that.
That person's not a hater. That dude's a good dude that gets more shit than they deserve.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I was just like, man. But I know my haters in general. I know
We
what
all have
happens.
them. I mean, it's life. People have to take their shots.
Like the dude that came at you earlier. It's like people they listen to Cronut, and that's gonna be my new name. Instead of Donut, it's gonna be Cronut. Because all he does is like to hear his own voice and likes to crow about shit he knows nothing about. Cronut.
I am at this point not allowed to talk about him.
You are?
Well, you know a little bit why.
Oh, yes.
So I'm just keeping my time for now, and to each his own. He can Luke can say whatever he wants.
Once you can though, we talked about who gets to break that shit.
You will be the person.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
It is 11:12 right now, so I don't know how to kick me off of this thing.
I'll
Hold on.
Hold up. Can I be a complete asshole in how I do this?
Of course,
In a fun way, in a way that I think you'll enjoy.
Will I be able to see it?
You'll be able to see it.
Okay, kick me off.
My wife is asleep. Only reason I'm able to do this without getting yelled at. Let me get over here to where I can get to the right thing here. Mr. Steve Chapman of Get Your Fish On, thank you so much for joining us this evening. I appreciate it. As always, a wealth of knowledge, and us getting to regale about all of our many conversations on this topic tonight. And until next time, better be next time. I told you people would like it. I am inevitable. Now, guaranteed Steve is backstage laughing his ass off because I know he got that inside joke. I appreciate your brother, man. Folks, y'all bear with me here for a couple seconds. I'm going to lean back here, kind of more relaxed. I'm getting my back settled. My back has been a real biatch tonight. But I'm going to field questions. Some people got it. Some people got it. Haters keep me warm. But now, if y'all have any other just generalized questions for me, I would be most happy to take them. Again, guys, sorry earlier. I didn't know if my wife was sleepwalking. It scared the shit out of me. She got up about 3 o'clock in the morning here. It's been several weeks ago now. I'm sleeping and I hear a loud crash followed by a bunch of blood-curdling screams, and it wakes me up. And I'm like, what happened? Because I'm not where I can get to my walker and get to her. And she's like, I fell. And she goes, I think I feel blood running down my face. I'm like, what? Ends up, she couldn't see out of one eye, but it wasn't because of blood or what she thought even a flap of skin. Her eye was already swollen shut. And she had fallen into a laundry cart when she got off the bed and totally ate it and messed herself up good. And it was ugly for a few weeks. And anyway, so when she gets up, she freaks me out. So when I find out she's just half lucid, I'm like, I go into piss mode because I'm going, you don't want your likeness out there and this and this and this and all this. It just freaks me out. Anyway, so y'all give me some, whoops, somehow I got against the camera, guys. Oh. There we go. Can y'all hear me? I got a loose port there. There we go. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, thank you. She is doing a little bit better. Her face is back to normal, which is good. But it's been several weeks ago. But yeah, she likes to say she won because now the laundry cart is all mangled. She bent the piss out of it. But if you'd have seen her face, you'd have thought the laundry cart won. So we'll just call it a draw. Yeah, I don't know how I keep telling shit. Yeah. Now I found out tonight that I have a loose connection for USB over here, and that's the reason the camera gets turned off. If I flinch wrong and hit the USB, the thing's cutting out. So if y'all have any other questions about this whole thing, Bobber. Yep. That little snap was for all the haters. But yeah, essentially, if y'all have any other questions, I'll be glad to field them. My notes were garbage. I had 3-4 pages of good notes, things in the timeline I wanted to address in this whole thing. I started a script, and to kind of let y'all a little behind the scenes, when I do a quote script, it's more like an outline of bullet points of things I want to cover, and then I kind of free flow. I might have a line or two of exactly how I want to start off or what I want to say, and then I just kind of get into it and roll and transition from subject to subject. But sometimes recording a simple video might take me a couple hours. At that point, it's when my tailbone and lower spine starts to scream at me and cuss me out real good. And I end up needing to take a break and lean back a couple times in my chair before sitting up and going at it again. So what y'all saw this time was me doing it live. Well, I did the live stream with, with Houseman, the kayak dude. I don't know if y'all saw, but towards the end of that live, or not that live, that recorded video there, I was pushing up on the sides of my chair because my lower back was in so much disarray that I just couldn't effing handle it anymore. Let me see here. Has any authorities found the character yet? No, they have not. I'm getting mixed reports. I'm understanding that local authorities in Florida are starting to get reports from some of the anglers. I know that, hey, Brian Lee, good to see you in here again. I know that there are several authorities or several different departments, especially local Monroe County, that's waiting like a catcher under a fly ball. As soon as they get the go-ahead to go track him down, they're going to go track him down. But they got to get some stuff going so they can do it. That's the same with the law enforcement there. Oh, boy, Bobber. Man, Bobber, am I right? That's Fort Worth, Bobber? Shit. There is a 2% chance this was a real thing that just didn't get off the ground. But I don't think so. Allegedly, if you had to ask me personally, in my opinion, I think it was fraud from the jump. How much money total missing? I've heard varying accounts up. I've heard everything from right around 800 or around $100,000 all the way up to 300,000. I don't know. It's because some anglers aren't talking that paid entry fees. They're embarrassed and they don't want to come off even worse embarrassed by saying their names and saying that they got had. So, yeah, there's that. Yeah, it was definitely the alias from the start. The kid's name, the adopted son's name, is really Ethan Phillips. Oh, I have talked to his father, to Timothy Lynn's father, since then, who claims that he hasn't seen Timothy in 18 years. Pardon me. Keep yawning. I find that curious because in 2020, which was not 18 years ago, is when his mother put an ad in the local paper saying that he was missing. She hadn't seen him for a little over a year. He was missing, and she, I think, feared him dead. Actually filled out a missing persons report. If you go look through my community tab on my community post, you'll see a copy of that article. Actually did a missing persons report with the Monroe County Sheriff's Department. Now, like I said, that was in 2020, in July of 2020. A year or so prior would have been 19. That's around the time he got the 3 warrants, the 3 felony warrants for the theft, and disappeared. Where we're thinking he kind of got his seed money and everything. If you had to ask me, what I would say, I don't think he was in Florida. I don't think he's in Florida now. I think he's got a better hiding place. Think about it. Let's say you wanted to go off grid in the state of Tennessee. There's still some good people here. There's still not as much as there were earlier. I'm afraid people are going to miss this little tidbit. Let's say you're in the foothills of the mountains in Tennessee and you want to, foothills of the Smokies, and you want to disappear. And let's say you run a scam or you're going to do construction for people and you haul ass for their money. You buy a shack, a cabin, something in the woods, and you want to live damn near off grid for X amount of time. It don't take a lot of money to do it in that situation. It don't take a lot of money. And that area, Tellico Plains, where he's from, where the family has a family logging business, if you go to Google Earth and look up Tellico Plains, you can see the huge ass cleared area where the logging business is. And so it's like there's only one area of that town you can get cell reception. Now, a lot of people up there have smartphones or internet. Pardon me, my gosh. So if I had to guess, he's up there. Like Scott Martin pointed out, dude's got 0 tan. Oh, another thing. He wanted to keep Scott Martin's crew, Brody and them, out of the anglers meeting. Didn't want them filming in there. Any guesses as to why? Maybe. Just maybe. He didn't want other shots of his face. I don't think he realized Brody had as many cameras set up outside as he did. Brody's the reason we got good quality images of this dude's face. He didn't want Scott's people in the meeting. Let me see here. Am I going to the Classic? To go to the Classic, I would have to be a lot more physically able right now. My wife would have to be in a shit ton better health for us to make it to the Classic. And I would not go clear to Tennessee unless I had credentials. And I'm not going to get credentials anytime soon over there. Somebody's worked behind the scenes to get that taken care of. And I know who they are, and they think they're cute, and they think they're hiding. But they're not. They're not. They know, and their day's coming. Let's see here. Off the risk here, but could this be a psyops perpetrated by another organization? I don't think so. Keith. That's a fun question. I don't think so. Ooh, I gotta be careful what I say here. There's two organizations that would gain most by doing it. And I think they're too dumb to pull it off. Then there's the third organization who plays nice enough with others that they wouldn't want to do it. Now, I'm not going to say who the first two are, but the one that plays nice enough that they wouldn't want to do it because they're cool with folks begins with an M and ends with an F. I'm just saying. Oh, J-Dog. J-Dog poking the bear. J-Dog poking the... Why would they withhold credentials from little me? Maybe because I tell the truth. Let's make a call. Baslow. Oh, yeah, JL. JL's a shoe-in to get credentials. He's a shoe-in. Yeah, try that shit, JL. You're going to both know that's coming up. Yeah, if there is that much of a conspiracy, yeah, Booster, you're right. It would get out. Anglers can't keep it that much of a secret. And I love them, but come on. We love talking to anglers. Anglers love talking to us. And that's not a dig towards any of the anglers. I dig them. They're nice folks. They're, exception of a handful, and y'all know who they are with me. Everybody's pretty good to go. Well, yeah, truth shall set them free. You would think they would think that, but they don't. They don't dig it. If you report on an angler who's kept fish in the box, who's fishing without a license, if you report an angler who's spouting crap and expecting people to be so stupid they buy it as truth, if you do that, they don't want you around. But this has been one of those interesting kind of days. And I could have made some money if I had taken the time and maybe released a video and done a video on Monday, or waited even until next Friday and done it. But I didn't want to make y'all wait. I'd released a members only video saying I was going to do this, that I was going to do a video, had all planned out, rewrote the script 3 or 4 times, had my notes all just jostled. I've been talking about it for a couple of weeks now. I'm just like, you know what, I'll do it live. Because I want to spend a Friday night with you guys. I have fun on lives. They don't pay at all, really. And hence the reason I put the goal up there on the top, that if we got to a certain number of, that goal's already gone. That goal's not there anymore. Y'all can't see that goal anymore. Damn it, I just realized why. I forgot it was timed. That I'd put a goal up there that if we got to $50 in super chats on this live stream, yours truly, who never drinks, would do a nice shot of bourbon. Or I say never drink. I drink so rarely. I'm not gonna lie. It's not that I never drink, but I would do a shot live on air with you guys to celebrate. The video might have done $50 for me, and I got enough views, and I waited around and did it right. But I didn't want to hold the information any longer. And the longer I hold on to it, the more breaking news the more breaking details kept coming along with it. And I was just revising. And it was just becoming a long, drawn-out shit show. And I'm like, you know what? If I don't do a video on it now, it's likely to never get done. So I'm just going to do the damn thing. But yeah, it was going to all be about the timeline, kind of what I was getting into. Steve and I had conversations about it almost every day. And I just assumed he had it and everybody else had it and left up to their own devices. Somebody would figure out if it was a fraud. I had no idea. I had no idea when no one was going to check. None. I mean, I feel bad. I feel bad for him. Let's see here. Waiting for the advisory board. It's funny. Do I think wow. Okay, a couple of comments I got to address here. Damn, coming in hot. Do I think MPFL is going to make it? In my opinion, the MPFL is a rich bass club who has a rich uncle that wants to spend all of his money before he dies, because I don't think, in my personal opinion, I don't think they're making money. I think they're paying out more, and the payouts aren't as great as they think they are or say they are, I don't think. And I mean, there's different ports. Steve knows a lot more about their payouts than I do. But I think the MPFL is kind of a, let's face it, it's a seniors tour. And I've heard that some guys are getting their entry fees taken care of if they go over and fish over there, which is like one of the only attractions to going and fishing over there. I don't know if it's 100% true. It's what I'm hearing. And if that's the case, then they're cheating their other anglers out of it. I don't know. I know that I don't trust any organization whose lead dog drives around town to find somebody and tries to fight him at a breakfast restaurant with people from the town who invited you sitting right there having breakfast while his wife's filming on a cell phone. I mean, do I expect it down at Shady Acres Trailer Park in the lot next to Tanya Harding? Yeah. Do I expect it out of a professional bass organization? No. So will the MPFL make it? If they're able to self-sustain long enough to catch more fire, maybe. But I really don't care. I don't really see him as a third organization. I see him as that weird uncle at the end of the table during family reunions that you just don't talk to. That's my personal opinion. Let's see here. Jump into the Joe Durham death conspiracy. No comment. Dog. When one of their people gets on another show and talks about people like me, I think me specifically that day, saying he wanted to grip his hand around my throat and squeeze until he felt the larynx pop, I have a problem. I'm going to be spicy. But he said it on a friendly show. So here's what it is. I should have put the referral link for Steve over here. I forgot I could put it in the DM chat. I'm not as accustomed to StreamYard like I used to be. They want too damn much a year. I had to tell them to go F off. Yeah, there was that. So over on Cronut Show, they were talking about people and alluding to me and somebody else and saying, I just like gripping my hand around the neck till I feel the larynx pop. And I'm going, unhinged much? But I learned a long time ago that, God bless anyone who's ever fought for our country and who is active or retired military or reservists. I support them. One of my best friends in the world, career military, retired a major, has worked for NATO, done, I want to say 3 tours a piece over there in Iraq and Afghanistan. I know a lot of the crap he's seen, and I'm so thankful he's still alive. I was on a base the day the bombs first dropped in Iraqi freedom. Very surreal. Driving home from being on base, and you're hearing the reports come in. So I have the utmost amount of love and respect for our military and for their service. But what I don't like is not near all of them, the occasional asshole who hides behind their military service to be a complete and utter dickhead. That's what I don't like. I'll just leave that there. There you go. There you go. There you go. Appreciate both y'all's service. Thank you very much. Canine Cop did not know that. Did not know that. Yeah, man. I've got she was in here earlier saying hi. KTZ. Her husband has experience as canine contractor as well as military. Man, go be love to work with puppy dogs too. Man, let's see here. Oh, really? That's a good puppy dog. Man, love good puppy dogs. We're big fans of puppy dogs around here. Let me know if y'all in the chat can actually hear my wife snoring over my left shoulder. That's funny. You need to scoot through? Huh? Okay, go ahead. I'm going to turn it real quick, guys, to audio only while she scoots through here. If I can remember how to do this. There we go. Yeah, I'll let her scoot through the background here. Yeah, you startled me earlier, hon. I was sitting there looking, and all of a sudden I didn't hear you get up, and I see you like wandering through behind me. And I'm like, oh shit, you okay? Careful, 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 careful. Careful.
Yeah.
You got it? Yeah, get your footing a little bit better there. Sorry, guys. She almost, just an occasional cough. Oh, yeah. She almost busted her ass back here just now. Gus is his name. Oh, Gus, good puppy dog. I'm going to get your dog addicted to crack if he's not already. Crack in the world of puppy dogs is duck feet, but only get them through HollywoodFeed.com. Get their brand of duck feet. Once you give a dog a duck foot, they will never want any other treat again. All of the treats will be crap, and they will basically stare at the bag all day and drool. Duck feet are freaking awesome. Now I can turn the camera back on. Not that y'all necessarily want to see my fat ass. There we go. Yeah, so we love the puppy dogs around here. But yeah, I get all my friends' dogs addicted to duck feet. KTZ, KFARs, I've got their dogs addicted to duck feet. We go around making, doggy crack addicts because we love seeing dogs happy. Well, guys, I know y'all are putting up and going to bed tonight, and I really appreciate y'all for sticking around as long as you have. If there's no more questions, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. I'm glad Steve was able to pop on. My notes were a mess. I was tired of fighting the script. There's been times I've fought scripts for several months at a time. And, yeah, I'm a perfectionist. I like getting things right. Tonight's live stream did not go like I wanted it to, but it is what it is. Next time, I'm going to remember next time to do my goals a little bit better. But that's something new that I should have learned how to do from KT and KFAR. But yeah, I just said, you know what? I'm going to get this out there, do it this way. I hate leaving y'all without the content, the big gaps that I have. I do a lot of research. I dig up a lot of things. Every time I looked, I'd have another question. I'd go ask the question. I'd get 10 other questions that would just spawn from it. And this was going to be a never-ending dig. So I'll get back to you guys when I have more information. And let's see here. Okay, through here. 1 second, guys. Can you right this second?
Yeah.
Okay. Guys, I'm going to turn off the thing real quick here. Hold on for 1 second. I'll go turn off the camera. So essentially, you know, it was going to take forever to get this one out. And I didn't want to not give the information while y'all wanted it. And I knew fatigue was already starting to sit in on the subject of dual threat. So I was kind of at this point of no return. I could have went ahead and done it. And then go ahead and shut the door, Ken. I could have went ahead and done it. And then, you know, put out Monday or something like that. But if I would have done that, let me go ahead and turn the camera back on. If I would have done that, you know, another 50 things might have come up between now and then. But I found out about his, you know, his 3 felonies for theft and what they meant and probably how he got his seed money. And I still have FOIA requests in to get more information. So let's see here. Oh, J-Dog, man, I can't. No. If AI writes my scripts, it makes it even worse because then I would have to memorize somebody else's train of thought. And AI doesn't really have a train of thought. They're just a blind squirrel on a tree trying not to lose their nuts. So I have to go my own way, my own goofy manner. I'm very anal about that. If I sat down to read like an AI script, it would take me freaking 10 years just to do the video, trying to memorize shit the way they do it. So I appreciate it, but there's no way I could do that. It would kill me. But I do thank all y'all for being here tonight and for putting up with all the crazy camera things and the audio things and wife stumbling through the background and all of it. And thanks for Steve for coming on. He got played. Everybody got played. I just was looking the other way. But if anything good has come out of this, I think next time I tell Steve to give me the damn name, I think he'll give me the damn name. I don't think we got to worry about that again. I think Steve will be like, oh shit, yeah. We know now. We know now. The whole fishing world knows now. And J-Dog and Towhead, I wish I could have been up y'all's way to go crappie fishing and do the report. I know the wife would have loved to have been crappie fishing. And guys, while I have y'all on, I don't normally say this stuff, but say a prayer for the wife if y'all can. I've watched her go downhill over the last couple months in a horrific fashion. And it's frustrating and scary and all kinds of stuff because it's been real bad. Memory lapses from 5 minutes to the next. Her balance, multiple times a day, she loses her balance. And I'll hear a thud while she'll either catch herself on the wall or catch herself on the bed or I'm wondering if she's not having a flare that's just not putting her in the hospital. Yeah, that's not pretty right now. Yeah. She would never have got up and went through a scene and shown who she was in a billion years. Something's wrong. She ain't all there. She never would have done that. It scared the shit out of me. Anyway, I'm made enough of that. I'm going to, it worried me. She has stalker issues in her past and things like that. So we try to keep, anyway, all that. So I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much. I'm gonna do what I got to do here tonight and put up. And I guess she and I are gonna figure out a very freaking like din because neither of us have eaten yet, and we're both feeling like hot garbage. So thank you guys, each and every one of you. I have a 13th member. What the fair use? Love that name. Seen him somewhere. Seen him somewhere and can't place him. If you're watching, sir, if you watch later, drop a comment. What the fair use? Recognize that name when I come across the whole members notifications. So we now have a brand new member to this month. And thanks J Dog and Towhead, all you guys. Appreciate y'all. Y'all are always fantastic. Can't tell you know how much I appreciate it. So and thank y'all for stepping up tonight too, mods. I'm sure Dobie is fast asleep by now. We've kept Dobie way up past their bedtime. The wife was modding. Towhead or Dog, y'all were, or Towhead, I guess, was modding. But yeah, it was a pleasure getting to meet y'all out there at the Classic back in 24. One last fun thing. The first time I was ever recognized in person, I got flagged down and outside the Bass Live stage there in Tulsa. And that was an absolute pleasure. It was so cool and so weird at the same time. I'm like, why am I getting recognized? But at the same time, it was super cool and super great guys. And just really gave me a lot of confidence my big head didn't need going into the expo over there and doing interviews like with Matt Steffen that day and other folks. It was a lot of fun. I've talked y'all ears off. Y'all know I like talking. Appreciate y'all. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. Still got over 30 in here this late in the freaking game. And as always, you know what? Until next time we meet, get out there in the water, guys. And let me get over here where I can hit the button. Keep it wet, guys.